Hello friend, an internal systems orientation to the management of communication within small groups. This is the second part of the lecture. We had discussed the factors to be kept in mind for effectiveness of a small group, the size of a group which should be maintained for the for it to function effectively. Now moving on to the types of group. Whenever there are a group formation, it is for a purpose. It is either for to do a particular job or to perform a particular function appropriately, keeping the objectives in mind. But for you to form those groups as a manager or as a senior manager or as a leader, you need to know the different types of groups which can exist or which usually exist in different organizations. So one of them is the formal group. The formal teams are the units constituted by management as part of the organizational structure. That is, because of the organizational structure, certain groups are formed. That is the functional, the department, there are the departmental groups, the HR departmental group, they usually work together and function together. The accounts, the finance department, they usually function together. So these are the groups formed because of the structure of the organization. The principal role of formal team is to further the aims and objectives of the organization. That is but obvious. They have to further or try and achieve the roles of the organization by performing the work that has been delegated to them. These teams are equipped with financial, physical resources by the organization and together with the appropriate amount of authority to carry out their roles. Authority on the basis of their job profile, the job description and the functioning. They have the authority to get the work done, to delegate job work to the other or to their subordinates or direct their subordinates, try and control them. So on the basis of this, the basis of the organization, the structure of the organization, these formal groups are formed. But the formation of these formal groups does not necessarily mean that they all develop friendship, relationships, interpersonal relationships between each other. Everybody has their own perceptions, their own attitudes, their own personality traits. Based on their likes, their dislikes, their mutual interests, their mutual behavior, their personalities, in an organization, informal groups are also formed. These are not on the basis of the structure of the organization, the hierarchy, their position, their status, but these are formed among people who who develop a friendship or a friendly relationship with each other. They develop naturally among people without any direction from the organization within which they operate. They are not in any established form, not according to official, conventional, prescribed or customary forms or rules. These are small groups. The friendships that they develop, a group is from 4 or 5 people in a department, have a stronger relationship, have a good friendship. They go out together, they party together, they move out together. So these are the informal groups formed within an organization. It could be interdepartmental, it could be within one single department. They are formed out of their personal relationships, common interests, and friendship. The empathetic attitudes together. Usually, you will find that similar-minded people develop friendships faster. So, these groups also exist in an organization. Then there is another category of groups which is called as the primary groups. These groups are characterized by intimate, face-to-face association and cooperation. They are usually small in size and have a feeling of camaraderie, loyalty, and similar values. The example is family and peer groups. Now, these are because of their close, intimate relationships with each other. The primary groups are the ones which are usually have face-to-face interaction and are close-knit. They are close together. They bond together, extremely close. So the family is an example. And every if you if you've studied in a school or a college, the close bonding which develops between say 3 to 4 people, they usually form a group. Usually it is 3, 4, 5, never exceeding that. The close bonding which develops are usually between a smaller group. Then there are the membership groups. These memberships groups are those the organizational participant join a group in order to satisfy his needs and affiliations. For example, trade union. Now you want to be a member of a certain group. You want to be associated with the group, and you would also like other people to know that yes, you are associated with that particular group. It could be a membership, it could be a club membership, it could be the social groups, the social networking groups, as you know, the Facebook, the then there are other more than the Facebook, which are there. Those are the bigger, larger groups. You all like to say that yes, I'm a member of the Facebook. So, and then there are other, supposing there are social causes, social reasons that the societal causes, there are people who form a group to fight against the societal causes, then you join them and you want to be, you want the membership with those groups. So, there are certain groups for which you have to take a membership, officially take a membership by just signing in or probably by other techniques. Then there are the reference groups. Reference groups is a group which an individual identifies and whose values an individual accepts as guiding principles. That is, you are, for example, medical association, and these are whom you want to refer to, you want to be associated with, and you also use their guiding principles as that. A lot of people go for their spiritual release, go and join some certain groups. So that is another category. Then there are the casual groups. The casual groups are very close to informal groups, but the difference is that the casual groups, the association is short-lived. For example, for a group discussion, a group is put together, so they are a casual group, they are together because of a group discussion. So, and that's a shorter duration, short-lived group formation. It could also be for a committee, for a formation, for any task forces groups are formed. So these shorter duration casual groups, not task forces, I'm sorry, that is a very formal form of a group. Casual, and they are formed by chance and not permanent, not regular, that this group will not be functioning together repeatedly. You will not be meeting these people again and again. And there are no rules, regulations, procedures, timings, control, or authority. They are just there for situational group formation casually because of the circumstances that you happen to be together, that group, particular group is formed. Now, cathartic group. These groups occur among people who are in close contact. That is, supposing you're living in a hostel, in a dormitory, and the roommates, 3 roommates, develop good bonding, a strong bonding between each other, among each other. That is the cathartic group. These groups occur among people who are in close contacts. This kind of a bonding usually lasts much longer, for years and years, even till your old age. Objective of these groups are to provide an opportunity to release feelings, tensions, and stress. That is, you bond together, you work close together, you are close together, feelings, and you talk about your problems to these people. You mention your any stress, and they are stress busters. Talking to your friends, it gives you psychiatric help, and they are the stress busters for a group, and very very necessary that everybody should have one at least cathartic group, that is a friend or a person you are close to. Then learning groups are formed. Learning groups are formed for the purpose of exchange and sharing of information. That is, you exchange information when you go for a tutorial, you are at a classroom, or you go for any learning experience. Then the group which is formed, and your classmates, your batchmates, or your co learners in the particular situation, that is the learning group, then usually formed in educational institutes, conventions, workshops, conferences, symposiums, seminars, training groups, executive development program, when you send your subordinates for a development program or for any training program, then the group which is sent together, they are the learning groups. They try and learn together, they try and bond together, they try and function together. Another of type of a formal group which is formed is the policy making group. These are formed in an organization. These are formed for the formation of policies and objectives. Usually, for example, the heads, the managers of the departmental heads are grouped together for the making of policies, for the designing of policies, that is designing of the rules and regulations. So they have official sanction, support and function as per rules, regulations, procedures and an agenda. That is, there is an agenda, a main topic which is to be discussed. There are procedures which they have to follow for the policy making. There are rules and regulations which they have to follow as a group to function together and to design those policies, that is the rules and regulations for organizations, for the group. Then there is the action group. Action group is the ones that implement the policies that have been made, implements the decisions that are decided by the policy making groups or any functions which are decided by the senior groups. So these groups put the policy into action. They plan when and how to implement the policy. That is the action, the functioning of the whole work which is to be done. Integrated groups. Integrated groups are the special groups formed for the intergroup conflict management. Now, we have discussed that there are conflicts within a group, and we have discussed that there are conflicts between two groups, that is intergroups. It could be two in one department, there could be two groups, or in between different departments, there could be a conflict. The conflict between groups is usually because of the limited resources available, because of the limited manpower available, because of the limited technical resources available. So because of our financial resources, because of all these limitations, because of it could be other problems, because of space, because of the physical availability of space, time, conflicts rise between two groups. So sometimes special groups are formed to act as intermediary between these groups and create harmony and peace for the smooth functioning of the organization and the department. They stand to intermediate, act as arbitrator to achieve the coordination. Now there is another category of group formation, which is the problem solving group. There are problems, always problems in an organization. There is cutthroat competition outside. There are constantly changing government rules and regulations. There is the environment, the external environment, the internal environment. Internal environment is the problems within an organization. So all these create problems, and the problem solving groups are formed. Again, they are formed differently depending upon the need, the requirement, the objective or the formation of the group. They are named differently. It is important for you to understand the name and the kind of group which is formed reciprocally, because when you go out and start working in an organization, you should know what the what group means. So first is task forces. Task forces is the group members are organization members with experience and expertise and concerned with the problem. You pick up people from the organization. There is a problem, you need a solution for it. So you pick up people from within the organization. They are supposed to sit together, rack their brains, come up with the solution, and they are the ones who have certain expertise, experience in that particular area, and in that particular department. And then they are used for problem solving, planning, investigation and decision making processes. They discuss the problem, they analyze the data which is in front of them, select the criteria and analyze the alternatives. That is, the data before them is first analyzed, then they come up with alternatives, then they come up with the criteria on the basis of which they will analyze these alternatives. Each alternative is evaluated against each criteria. The one which gives the best possible solution, the alternative which gives the best possible solution, is chosen as probably the action plan, and then that becomes the solution for the problem. The problem solving groups. These are a group especially formed to solve one particular problem. Task forces are usually people with expertise from within the organization. The problem solving group is specially formed for only one particular problem, and then it is resolved. The participants are related to the problem and have a track record of thinking objectively. In case of task forces, they are experts from various departments, from various areas. Here, they are only these groups are related to or concerned with that particular problem, and they have a track record of thinking why they are chosen. They are chosen because they can think objectively. They have an objective thought process. They know they have the potential. It is known that they have the potential, the capability of coming up with the right decision. Then there is another group which is the committees. We have discussed committees before also in the previous chapters. There are various forms of committees. There are the ad hoc committees, there are the special committees which are formed with the problem solving committees again. They are formally designated groups appointed to accomplish a specific objective. If a group is sitting together and talking about a problem, it is not a committee. A committee has to be a planned committee. They are specially selected, chosen for that particular decision making process, and the agenda is fixed when the committee meeting is held. Number one. Number two, the the time is decided, the problem is previously decided, that is, the agenda is previously deciding, and the members are chosen specially, and they are not just happen to be sitting there. That if a group of people are sitting together and chatting or discussing a problem, it will not become a committee. They are specially appointed, chosen, and the agenda is planned and told to them, and the timing for the committee meeting is planned prior to the actual meeting to be happened. The committee, after thorough investigation, studying the problem, analyzing relevant data, recommends the suggestions for approval and implementation. It may perform different functions like service, advisory, coordinating, informational, decision making, and license, etc. Now, the important type of groups, this is just a reminder, are the formal groups, the informal groups, the primary groups, the membership groups, the reference groups, the casual groups, the learning groups, and the Caterotic groups. Another category of group forming is the idea creating category. That is, in which you have to come up with ideas, you have to create a new idea, that is the inception of a new idea or a new thought process. It could be a product, it could be a new solution or a different solution to the problem than what is already there. Number one is brainstorming. What is brainstorming? First, brainstorming is coming up with ideas, racking your brain or disturbing your brain and coming up with another idea, new thought process, or creating creative idea. So brainstorming creates new ideas, solves problems, motivates and develops teams. It involves creative thinking and an advantage of different judgment. Discussion and the evaluation takes place in a face-to-face interaction group approach. That is, uh, brainstorming is done within a group. The advantage is that you get idea or a judgment of number of people rather than just one or two. Then once a discussion takes place, then each idea is talked about, you get the feelings, emotions, and the judgment of various other people who are sitting there to give those ideas. So it's a brainstorming. They sit together, they talk together and rack their brains for a solution, for any new idea, for whatever the agenda of the brainstorming session would be. Another group is a nominal group. These groups are formed for decision taking by vote, by everyone's opinion is taken into account. First, every member of the group gives their view of the solution. The duplicate solutions are eliminated from the list of all solutions, and the members proceeding to rank the solution first, second, third, fourth, and on. The numbers of each solution received are totaled, and the solution with the highest, that is the most favored total ranking, is selected as the final decision. Fine. There, in the group, everybody comes up with their ideas or the solutions, or any particular idea is given. All of these are collected together. The duplicates are deleted, that the ideas which are double the same, if two people might have given the same idea, they are eradicated. Then the ideas which are taken, picked up, they are ranked according to the votes which the people give. Everybody gives their votes to their ideas, that this is okay, fine. Then the one which gets the maximum number of votes is ranked as number one. The one which gets the next number is number two, number three, and so on. So the number one would probably be the solution and the best action plan possible for the decision, for the problem for which the decision has to be taken. Last is the Delphi decision making. In this, the members are selected for the Delphi panel due to their expertise. They have an expertise or expert knowledge or special skills in that particular thing. In this case, the main criteria, the main thing in this Delphi decision making is that the people do not come face to face. There is a coordinator. They are given separate structured questionnaire to fill. They fill these questionnaires. They could be placed in different geographical regions. They could not be there in the same locality or the same place. Then and they are just given a questionnaire. They have to fill up the questionnaire, find out the solution, or provide a given answer to that. They are kept separated. That is, there is no face-to-face communication. And through an open-ended questionnaire, survey, etc., in order to solicit their specific information about a subject or a content area. The advantage of this is that the disadvantages of face-to-face communication, that is the interpersonal rivalry, the interpersonal conflicts, the interpersonal prejudices, are kept away. Since they all do not know each other and they are there on the basis of their expertise and they do not know each other, all this is kept away, and the solution or answer or whatever they are giving is very objective, is only very objective and comes from clearly from only what they feel or what they think. Then keeping them separated avoids the negative effects of face-to-face discussion and avoids problems associated with group dynamics, that is interpersonal relationships, as well as conflicts and prejudices and attitude which people have towards each other. This is especially so with people who have special skills, high knowledge. They definitely have an attitude and they do not want to show that the other person knows more than me. And members are asked to share their assessment and explanation of a problem, and the intermediator who keeps collecting these answers and their solutions, then they all sit together and decide on what they need to do for the particular problem. To summarize, there are many types of groups formed at different situations in an organization. They are formal, informal. Then there are the primary groups which have close-knit relationships. There are the casual memberships, reference, cathartic, learning policy making, action and integrated groups. Besides the mentioned group, there is another category of problem solving groups. Under these, there are the task forces, the committees, and the problem solving groups. There is another category whose function is creative thinking. Under this, there are the brainstorming, nominal, and the Delphi decision making group. Now, before you decide upon the type of group which needs to be formed in your organization or which needs to be formed for the particular job assigned before you, you have to know what are the different types of groups, what are the functionings of a group, what are the factors which help in make the functioning of the group much more effectively. So the conflicts that arise intergroup and within a group, how you can handle these problems and these conflicts, all these can be kept in mind for the effective functioning of you as a leader or for the functioning of a group together. Thank you.